So here's the thing about Korra's decision to keep the portals open. If you're looking through discussion about Korra as an avatar online, you'll often find criticism for this choice in particular, as many cite it as the worst possible decision an avatar could make, and worry that it will lead to the destabilization of the entire world, or the cataclysm that supposedly occurs before the new series, Seven Havens. However, it's actually one of the most textured decisions that any avatar has ever made, affecting the world in a majorly positive way, and moving the world closer toward the idea of true balance, more so than perhaps any avatar before her. I adored the ending to the second book, and felt that it was one of the strongest writing choices the staff made in this new series. First of all, the Avatar's entire purpose is to preserve balance in this world. Aang did so by controlling the Fire Nation's greed and imperialism, but at the end of Book 2, Korra realizes that there will never be true balance if the human and spirit worlds are still separate. It's just segregation. That's not balance, not equality. In Beginnings Parts 1 and 2, we're shown vividly that the Earth was not always meant to operate in this way, and the natural order included spirits and humans living together on the Earth, being able to move between the physical and spirit realms with their full essences at will. As, again, when I was covering Book 2, I explained how I believe we could still enter the spirit world with the portals closed, but not have our bending, thus spirits can enter the physical world, but probably lack their size, as with the dragonfly bunny spirits, or their special abilities. The only reason the portals were ever closed was to ensure that no one could enter the spirit world and free Vaatu. That was the main reason. In the meantime, Wan also resolved to teach humans to further respect spirits, to cut down on that conflict that was kind of brewing before harmonic convergence happened. He never really wanted to separate the spirits and humans, but the fact that the humans now had bending and left the safety of the lion turtles meant that there was going to be more and more disputes for territory as the years went on, due to this enormous change in the way that the world works. From Wan's perspective, humans and spirits both needed time to let go of their resentment towards one another, and as the generations go on, that sort of bitterness fades, where the spirits used to assume that humans were just boorish people who destroy and disrespect nature, and the humans assume spirits are oppressing them and attacking them for no reason, like they're wild animals incapable of thinking or something. So that by the time harmonic convergence comes back around, Korra has a much more nuanced position to work from, where there really isn't animosity at all between humans and spirits. They largely don't interact, except for, you know, those rare occasions like Heibai, or when Korra's father destroys the sacred forest. It's more like these tethers that they have to the physical world, their last homes after being kicked out are harmed, and so they're lashing out. It's not really any sort of brewing conflict or long-standing aggression towards humans in general. There is definitely indifference, as Book 2 explores with the Southern Water Tribe, but certainly not aggression towards spirits, really. And evidently, that pisses some spirits off, which is another reason, by the way, that we should bring them back into the physical world so that they can actually enjoy what they are used to, rather than having to pay tribute in the hope that they don't decide to rain wrath upon us. To the point where Korra can recognize that reintroducing spirits back into the physical world would not be detrimental to overall balance, especially because she disagrees with Wan's initial decision in the first place, as Unalaq does. There should never have been a bridge. Wan, from their perspective, should have been working to quell insurgencies between the spirits and the humans, with Rava's light now fully realized thanks to harmonic convergence again, but also, like I said before, a lot of that was to prevent someone from freeing Vaatu. That was really the main reason. And while yes, there is definitely some tension to be found due to the new locations that the spirits inhabit, particularly in Republic City with the development of the spirit vines kind of disrupting architecture that is already established there, but it's more kind of growing pains for the new world rather than a serious conflict, as the spirit vines end up becoming entrenched in Republic City's architecture, providing not only a great tourist spot, but also a much more vibrant and and lively city that represents unity even more than it did before. Aang would have been so proud of what Republic City became because he meant it to be the symbol of balance and unity in the world, and now it really is living up to that, especially after Korra plops a portal right in the center of it. That was an accident, but still, great development. She's really almost able to prove Wan wrong, that spirits and humans can coexist, by successfully guiding this world toward general balance. I mean, there really largely weren't really that many problems with the spirits after the initial, like I said, growing pains, by still being able to guide the world toward general peace and balance and have the spirits and humans coexisting. Also, this movement forward teaches humans to be more respectful towards spirits to avoid situations like what happened with Korra's father, destroying the ancestral forest. Like I said, a lot of humans either didn't even know spirits existed or largely haven't thought about them in years. So by forcing humans and spirits to share locations, to allow them into their lives, for that to become a daily occurrence that is natural and not notable anymore, it will eventually lead to less detriment to the relationship between spirits and humans. Like I said, Republic City becomes a bastion of spiritual cooperation, as the citizens post-time jump in Book 4 have largely accepted their surroundings, it seems, and some of them have even become friends with spirits, like the homeless man that Korra meets in the very first episode of this show. It was so touching to see that the spirits could provide homes and families for people that hadn't been able to find them among the other humans for a long time. Granted, that guy did have that kind of underground civilization thing, but I appreciate the spirits joining in and clearly mixing well with this group, peacefully coexisting and just having a good time. And having spirits around even helps Team Avatar every now and then, as they can sense spiritual discord, especially around the Avatar, and generally have great advice on how to fix it. There's a flock of cute little guys that help Asami and Korra figure out where Aiwei's meeting place is in Season 3, and it is a spirit that leads Korra to the swamp to meet Toph in Book 4 and eventually begin her journey of recovery. They have a place in this world, and they deserve to be here just as much as humans do. Yes, there are some spirits that are a little more scary, and then there are ones that are more friendly. That's exactly what humans are like. It doesn't mean they deserve to be here any less. Not to mention that spirits only want to harm humans when the world is out of balance. Unalaq was actively manipulating and turning spirits dark to fight against Korra. It wasn't the spirits' decision, really. As long as everything is balanced, the spirits are fine and mostly peaceful. Also, like, half of the animals that we meet in this show are way more dangerous than the spirits are. People rarely actually get attacked by spirits unless there's like an active force pressing them towards darkness. Other than that, I mean, the worst we've seen them do is like bite Bolin on the finger. They don't really involve themselves. They're a little bit rude sometimes, but other than that, they're generally pretty non-invasive. Like, they kind of just do their own thing. Another reason I think this decision is extremely positive in general is the spiritual rebalancing of the earth that follows it. It's so wild to me that some people will just straight up ignore or talk around or try to rationalize it as not a result of Korra's decision. The fact that the Airbending Nation was literally revived thanks to her. It would have taken generations, hundreds of years to get the temples up and running again. Now, in Seven Havens, even though it's pretty much immediately following Korra's demise, the Air Nation can really be involved in the plot and a major player in the political landscape in a way that we haven't been able to see thanks to stupid Sozin. Not to mention that it restores the balance between the four nations that was offset so heavily by the 100-Year War. These four nations are meant to coexist and have presumably been around for generations, forming just after the humans left the lion turtles, as they each inhabited different areas of the world, and we have to assume fairly split it up. One of them being entirely gone is a huge reason why the world ended up being thrown so far out of whack during the war, and why the Fire Nation was increasingly able to gain more and more ground before Aang showed up. They are necessary for peace and balance. The Air Nation's presence in the world creates an insanely positive force of support and benevolence, not only by aiding Korra and taking down Zahir and the Red Lotus, but also by protecting the world while she was gone, roaming the countries and giving whatever aid they could to whomever needed it. And they were instrumental in taking down Kuvira and generally extremely involved in the Avatar's efforts. They're such an amazing group of allies that tirelessly work to aid the Avatar in achieving their dreams of balance and always stand up in the face of tyranny for the sake of free will and individual rights. A common consequence of this decision that a lot of people are, let's just say, afraid of is Ko the Face Stealer crossing through the portal to the spirit world and stealing everyone's face. Short answer, that's not gonna happen. So please stop bringing it up. There's actual concrete lore that you're ignoring about Ko's role in this world and making assumptions simply because you'd really like it if Korra was wrong for this. Too bad she isn't. I know it's really hard to deal with, but objectively this decision to keep the portals open was better for the world. Sorry. You burnt. Ko has beefed with the Avatar exactly only once before. With Kuruk. When Kuruk began disposing of too many spirits rather carelessly, Ko punishes him by stealing the face of the woman he loved. Other than that, he doesn't really dislike the Avatar as a concept at all. Nor does he really hold disdain for humans in general. I mean, Ko was never an actual villain of ours. Aang only went to him for information, and he never needed to fight him because Ko really had no beef with him at all. Sure, he wanted to steal his face, but hey, face stealers be face stealers. I mean, what are you gonna do? What, is he gonna not try to steal your face when you come into his home and ask him questions with no notice? Listen, Ko's entire thing is that he steals faces from those that deserved punishment for their acts on Earth, from his perspective. And it seems to me you'd have to really, really fuck up to get Ko the Face Stealer to become interested in punishing you. But this drive to steal faces is even kind of emotional for him, as he was born to the Mother of Faces, which is a spirit responsible for all human appearances, but became distanced from her thousands and thousands of years ago for really unknown reasons. But he steals faces to remind himself of her, to feel closer to her even though they no longer have contact, because that's his mom. Like, what a child. He is in no way an evil being. Yeah, I think it's twisted how he seems to take joy in stealing faces, but he also is one of the few spirits that offered free wisdom to humans if they dared to face him. That shows that, yes, he does like to play games, but he also does show an appreciation for those humans who are able to remain stoic, keep their cool in his presence, and will freely provide them with what they seek for literally nothing in return. If you want to know where I got this information, a lot of lore about him, or not really a lot, but some lore is disclosed during the Search comic series, which takes place after the events of The Last Airbender, as well as an old online game that no longer exists. But thankfully we do have fandom now to consolidate this information for us and keep it alive, as a lot of these old posts on the Nickelodeon website have been permanently deleted, and they are like pieces of lore written by the authors that you really can't get anywhere else. But Ko also doesn't really leave that tree that we see Aang visit him in The Last Airbender. If he did steal faces for no reason, there's really nothing stopping him from, one, leaving and stealing everyone's face before the portals were initially closed, or two, stealing everyone's face as soon as Korra reopened the portals. Listen, word travels fast in the spirit world, and all the spirits always seem to know what the Avatar is doing, and Ko also even has other spirits who report to him because he is extremely powerful. He likely knew she opened them back up. I am positive he knew, and chose not to go out. He waits for the humans to come to him. This proves that his goal is not to simply steal as many faces as possible. He's a twisted spirit, definitely creepy, but not overtly positive or negative in force, as all spirits are intended to be. It's no doubt strange, and something out of a horror movie. Like, I don't blame people for being like, is Ko gonna go eat everyone now? And his motivation is a little bit hard to understand being a human, but I think that makes sense for an eternal being. But ultimately, Ko is not dangerous to the general population unless you offend the spirits in an insanely poor way, to which the Avatar would probably come after you too. Unless you're Kuruk, of course, in which case you are the person offending the spirits. Whoops. And I think the last thing that is really positive about this decision is it's really a great signal of Korra's development. I spoke about this at length in my video about just Korra's character arc over the course of the series, but it's always worth stating how textured this decision is and how much development it shows in Korra without directly stating it to the audience. Show, don't tell, right guys? That's the best way to write material. Try not to reveal everything explicitly in dialogue. That's why shows sometimes sound really clunky. Looking at you, CW. Oh my god, you guys need to hire better writers. Seriously though, I always crow about this moment because I never really got over what an insanely perfect writing choice this is. I loved it from the second I saw it, especially considering Unalaq is inarguably the most unhinged villain and goes to the most insane lengths to secure his power. Yes, Kuvira is also quite out there, willing to kill her fiance, but Unalaq was kind of willing to kill his children, so I don't know. But for Korra to be able to not only show compassion to him in the end, but to also be able to recognize the small truths that formed his entire ideology, even if it might have gone off track, is so meaningful for her overall arc in this series. And remember, he also essentially tortured her, physically abused her, and took away something that she had greatly cherished, her past lives. He put her through intense pain, gave her trauma that takes her years to deal with, and she is still willing to look at him from an objective lens and really listen to what he was trying to say to her all this time, even after he initially betrayed her. This is a level of maturity that is unbelievable for an 18-year-old to show. Seriously, it takes a lot of courage and understanding, something that Korra at first lacked, to be able to make this very worldly decision that, as I've stated throughout this video, affects immense positive change and cements Korra as one of the most influential avatars in history. No, that's not up for debate. But anyway, if you want to support us further, you can go to patreon.com/PosiTVty, that's POSITVTY, to get all of this content before it comes out on YouTube. Plus, you get to see the unedited essays, so you get to hear my lovely, lovely mistakes. And if you enjoy my cat screaming, oh boy, it happens much more often when I don't cut them out. But also, all the support on YouTube means a ton to me. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, doing all that wonderful stuff for the algorithm or whatever, and I appreciate you being here. Somebody appreciates your presence out there. Always remember that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!